Week 6 of the End Zone presented by TiVo here on CBSSports.com and on your TiVo DVR via TiVo Cast alongside Ian Eagle. I'm Jason Horowitz here in New York. Randy Cross with us each and every week in Atlanta, and it's the matchup of the week. And really, guys, the matchup of the season, and it's a matchup that doesn't come along that often. 5-0 Dallas, 5-0 New England, just the fifth time in NFL history that you get undefeated teams this far into a season. But, you know, I heard something on the radio this morning that I think is a very good point. Nobody would be surprised if New England blows out Dallas. If it's the other way around, people would have a big shock on their face.
Yes, they would be shocked because the NFC doesn't measure up with the AFC, not only this year but in years past. And Dallas right now is the class of the NFC, but they're coming off an emotional come-from-behind win Monday night against Buffalo, where they were exposed a bit. And Tony Romo, he's got that gunslinger mentality, and give Tony Romo credit, the resiliency to come back late in that game and make some big throws for Dallas to eke out the win. Sign of a good team, find ways to win in games where it doesn't look like you're going to win, and Dallas was able to do that. With all of that said, New England, Randy, right now is playing at a ridiculously high level, and their talent is unmatched. The fact that they've gone from one of the worst wide receiving corps in the NFL a year ago, Rashae Caldwell, Jabbar Gaffney, Troy Brown, their top three. Now you're looking at Randy Moss, Dante Stallworth, and Wes Welker. I don't know if we've seen a greater improvement in the wide receiver corps in NFL history from year one to year two.
And let's throw also in there how good Ben Watson is, too.
Exactly, and they have the check stubs to prove it, too. Their salary. This time last year, you had a lot of Patriot fans calling into radio shows and making comments to commentators about, we have so many dollars under the cap, why aren't we spending it? Well, now you know why. They loaded up this offseason, and really the side of the ball that gets talked about the least is probably their most impressive side of the ball, and that's their defense. And that's the side of the ball that gets to match up with a guy like Tony Romo. And Tony Romo is the reason Dallas fans are so excited about this football team because of his mobility, because of that gunslinger attitude you talked about. And Tony Romo's also the reason most observers look at this game and say, you know, it's not that close really when you talk about which quarterback will make the most mistakes, because I think people are pretty much ingrained to the fact that Brady doesn't make that many mistakes. And if Tony Romo takes those kind of chances against Asante Samuel and Rodney Harrison and Adalys Thomas and Mike Vrabel and the rest of those defensive players for New England, it could get ugly early.
Well, let's not forget, though, that Romo is making just his 16th career start. I mean, the guy is still a very young guy, and a quarterback that Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach, they're all giving him their best wishes, and they say that he is the next star in Dallas. But, you know, we talked about that last year with Rex Grossman about the fact that he was still playing his first real season in the NFL. This is still Tony Romo's first full season.
In the 15 starts that he's made, though, in the NFL, Jason, he's thrown for over 4,100 yards.
Yes.
That's how good he has been.
More passing yards than any other quarterback in that time.
That's how productive he's been, and I do think that he has brought now a sense of hope for this Dallas organization that they can win a playoff game. Just think about this for a moment. For the first time in 10 years, it's been 10 years since the Dallas Cowboys have won a postseason game, Randy. So the fact that they're 5-0, the fact that they've taken the next step as an organization, the fact they're doing it without Bill Parcells, they're doing it with Wade Phillips, and it appears that his approach is the right approach right now for this football team.
Well, I think that's an excellent way to look at it, but I also think you have to say Bill Parcells built this team. I think all that Wade Phillips is doing is a different set of hands on the steering wheel. I love their talent on defense. If you look at them defensively, last year they kind of underachieved, especially towards the end of the year, and you haven't seen that this year. Last year, Tony Romo came in, started hot, made a lot of mistakes down the stretch of the season, and then had that terrible mistake against Seattle. You haven't seen really any of that so far this year. All his performances, even the one last Monday night, have been on the up and up. They've always finished strong, and he's developed that sort of athletic amnesia that is so necessary at quarterback. I love this matchup. I think it's a field goal game for my way of thinking, and it's a game that when you get down to the little itty-bitty things, you know, Jason, you mentioned Ben Watson. Everyone assumes that Ben Watson's going to have this monster game. I think on the other side, you better keep an eye on Jason Witten, too.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. You talked about your three-point game. We'll get to who you think is going to be on the positive side of that three-point victory in a sec, but let's hit our TiVo rewind from last week when we picked the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks and see who came out on top because we didn't all pick the same.
Well, I'll go with the Seahawks. I think that they go out there and get themselves an upset.
I do like the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I think Tomlin has really handled this the right way, and I believe this team has the right mindset to bounce back.
I'm also going to take Pittsburgh. Last time I understand that when we did this, and the last time that Randy went one way and we went another way, it was all in Randy's favor. But I'm also going to take Pittsburgh because Seattle, up until last week, really had a hard time stopping the run. So the New York contingent of the end zone presented by TiVo gets check mark number 1. Atlanta -1. Randy, why don't we'll let you go first again this week. Try to redeem yourself here. You said it's a 3-point game between Dallas and New England. Who comes out on top?
Well, I like New England late. I like New England sometime around, 7:15 or so Eastern to win this one on a late field goal.
And I think he's promoting CBS's coverage of this game and keeping.
Did a nice job
straight.
at it as well. Short work week now for the Dallas Cowboys coming off Monday night. I just don't see how they find a way to win this game. New England is humming along like a fine-tuned machine. They go to 6-0. Dallas drops to 5-1.
You know, I know our producers would like me to be the little engine that could
be that guy.
The guy that picks the.
Be that guy.
I'm not going to be that guy.
Come on.
I can't be that guy. I don't see how Dallas wins this ball game. You've got New England's defense, which is so good, and Tony Romo looked confused against Buffalo. It's Buffalo. He's going to look confused against New England as well. I'll take the Patriots, and we'll make it a full-out sweep. But we could all be wrong next week on the end zone. We'll have to see.
You don't want to be that guy, huh?
You didn't want to be that guy.
No, they never asked me to be that guy.
You didn't be that guy either.
Step out there.
Folks, we'll have plenty more on the in the end zone presented by TiVo. When we come back, it's always on demand on CBSSports.com and on your TiVo DVR via TiVo Cast. Stay tuned.